Hi, I'm David,
And I'm Leslie.
and we enjoy spending our vacations traveling around the world by bicycle.
On some previous trips, we cycled around Sweden and Denmark,
We're cycling along.
marveling at the amazing cycle paths there.
Couldn't have asked for better weather.
A couple summers ago, we flew into Paris. We made our way to the Loire Valley and cycled around there for a few weeks. It was amazing. Mostly, though, we spent some great time here in Ontario, marveling at the wonderful landscape that we live in.
We're starting this trip at the end of June 2024 and plan to spend about 3 weeks cycling largely north on the Eurovelo 15. We flew into Frankfurt, spent the night, assembled our bikes, and then took a train to Andermatt, Switzerland, where we then cycled down Eurovelo 15 through Liechtenstein and Austria to Basel, Switzerland. Then we cycled a little bit west towards the Eurovelo 5 and cycled through the Alsace region, through Strasbourg, and then cycled back into Germany to Offenburg, and then took a train to Luxembourg, where we cycled over towards the Mosel River, down the Mosel River to Koblenz, and then back up on the Rhine, and ended in Mainz, where we took a train back to Frankfurt. This is the first of what will probably be 7 videos describing our trip. This first part covers our arrival in Frankfurt and the first 4 days of riding to Bad Ragaz.
After an overnight flight from Toronto to Frankfurt, we arrived at 6 a.m. We walked our bikes and bags and 1 suitcase each to the Sheraton Hotel at Frankfurt Airport. It was a real maze of hallways and elevators, but we made it to the hotel around 7 a.m. We weren't able to get an early check-in, so we used a large area in the hotel lobby to assemble the bikes. It was pretty good. Everything seemed okay except for the 2 rear skewers, which were slightly bent, maybe from being dropped, we're not sure. But we were able to bend them back into shape to get them into the wheels, so that was good.
We left our bags at the hotel and rode to downtown Frankfurt to visit a bike shop where we were able to get our skewers straightened a bit more. And we rode to the Stadel Museum to see Vermeer's painting, The Geographer. After seeing the painting, we had a quick bite to eat, went to the roof of the museum to have a look at Frankfurt, and then got back on our bikes and headed back to the airport.
The trail back to the airport was through an amazing wooded area. We got back around 2:30, checked into our hotel room, and then we took a walk around to figure out where the trains were for the next morning.
Next morning, June 30th, we got up early around 6 a.m., had breakfast at the hotel, and took our bike bags down to the storage room for 3 weeks we'd be traveling. We headed over to the airport train station, which is connected to the hotel, and boarded the first of 5 trains to Andermatt. Travel took much of the day, with some hectic getting on and off trains with some short connections. With some careful scrutiny of the Deutsche Bahn website, we were able to book parking spots for our bikes on all the trains. At first, the scenery was quite industrial, but then it became more agricultural as we moved towards Switzerland and the Alps. Leslie bought a bottle of Eurovelo, a local drink, which is a soda made from cheese whey. Not bad as soda goes. Leslie really liked it, however.
When we arrived in Andermatt, it was raining, and we rode a soggy 700 meters to the hotel. We unpacked and dried off and went out walking around an incredibly picturesque little town with the cowbells clanging in the distance. When you're in Switzerland, you have to try a fondue and raclette dinner. So we did in a 200-year-old building, and it was as cheesy as one could hope for. We also tried a rose wine called Eau de Perdrix, which was from the French part of Switzerland. And after dinner, we had a Swiss digestive Honigkräuter Fassbind, which was a honey herb drink that reminded us of other drinks such as ouzo or sambuca.
Although this is the third day of our trip, this will be our first day on our bikes. And we woke up in the morning in Andermatt and cycled to the Andermatt train station to catch the Andermatt train to Oberalp Pass. It's a cogwheel train that goes up a pretty steep slope to the top of the pass. The train will drop us off at the start of Eurovelo 15, which is also the headwater for the Rhine River. And the intention is to spend the next 3 weeks cycling down the Rhine River.
We got off the train at the Oberalp station and we were at 2,044 meters, ready to make the descent towards Alsace.
Start of the ride. So I feel like we're seeing the tops of the mountains. Oh, there's one in front of us that we're not quite seeing.
Yeah.
They've painted on the road here, max, max, max. Nice place to be a cow. Oh, they're cute. Everything's timber. Cars back. Watch the dip. You probably hear us talking on our helmets. We have some Sena R1 communication helmets which allow us to talk to each other even up to about 800 meters apart. So you'll probably be hearing that quite a bit throughout this video.
After about an hour of switchbacks down the mountains, our hands were cold and it was only 3 or 4 degrees C, so it was time for coffee.
First big hill. Everyone's taking off their jackets, stopping multiple times. Leslie's gears were weird. Yeah. Richard gear. So this is a 7% grade, 27 more meters of climbing to go. There's some other people walking their bikes. Waterfalls everywhere. Look at that. I think so. But awesome valley. Look at you now. Yeah, it's being filmed. I think just walk over that fence. I'm not sure why they don't do that. Probably, yeah. It's a picnic area, bike rack.
En route, I was excited to visit a 6th-generation distillery that made some eau de vies and some herbaceous and bitter liqueurs, and of course, a gin. We tasted a few of the eau de vies and took away a wonderful bottle of the blue plum brandy.
Reached the town of Alsace at around 4 p.m. and then faced a 94-meter climb, about 12% grade, up to a nunnery hotel. We largely walked up this hill out of the valley. We couldn't face the hill again, so we had dinner with the nuns in a very nice little restaurant. The view from the hotel was spectacular, overlooking the valley, and we sat on the patio with a small bottle of Riesling and enjoyed the setting sun. On day 4 of the trip, our second cycling day, we had a nice breakfast with the nuns and we rolled down the 94 meters to the Alsace train station. We decided to take a train to the town of Andermatt to skip a few long climbs, but also to address an issue that had arisen with Leslie's bike the day before. Once in Andermatt, we rode to a bike shop where it was determined that the cassette and chain needed to be replaced.
The bike repair was very quick, but it gave us time to hike up to the St. John Baptist Church in town and see some pretty views over the valley before we started our ride out to Bad Ragaz.
So we're on the road now, leaving Andermatt after a bike repair. We took a 30-minute train to get to the next bike shop, and And now we're back on the Eurovelo 15 into a headwind along the true Rhine, where it's been formed by the Inter-Rhine and the Border Rhine, as we learned from the lady on the train. And we're riding to Bad Ragaz, through Fur, stopping at a distillery, maybe an old church thing, and that's about it. Beautiful day. Hopefully not so much of a tailwind, headwind the whole time. Pavement is nice. We also skipped 4 big climbs by taking the train. We couldn't do those with Leslie's skipping chain and cassette, so we should be good now.
We were excited to make a stop in Chur because there's a store that sells a very traditional cherry liqueur that's been made by one family for over a century and in the region for a long time. We were also able to visit a beautiful 15th century church before we headed back to the Eurovelo 15.
This is where we would have come out, maybe. Full-blown Rhine.
The paved path to Bad Ragaz was incredible. We went through a number of picturesque villages. There were sprawling vineyards, which you'll see shortly, and fields of strawberries, potatoes, corn, scallions, and oats. On either side of the valley, there were really steep forests on glacially eroded cliffs, making for a spectacular day of riding, and really stunning views in all directions.
Oh, they're like these little vehicles. They're picking strawberries. Yeah, little strawberries. What are they giving them? What are they selling them? What are they giving them away? Like these big grape terraces up here. Almost.
After a large climb, not a huge climb, we were up above the valley below, looking out at the vineyards and all the grapes growing here in the Milan's region, which is well known for its Pinot Noirs. We tried stopping at a winery, but we didn't have any luck, so we admired the grapes and kept pedaling.
Light coming. Yeah, really. A little hill here. Nicely paved road though. Look at that. The best thing is it's not cobble streets.
Yeah, that's true.
So we do have the climb and coming up here. After cycling several hours down the Rhine Valley, mostly amongst the vineyards, we crossed over the Rhine River and entered the town of Bad Ragaz. It was a cute little town with lots of public artwork. The last building on the road here. Against the mountains. There it is, Hotel Alsace. We finished an amazing day of cycling, having ridden about 43 kilometers and about 536 meters of elevational gain. And after checking into our hotel, we wandered around the city, admiring the public artwork and the beautiful scenery. I hope you'll stick around for our next installment, which will cover the next 3 days of this trip from Bad Ragaz down towards the Bodensee.